Dr. Hyunwoo Park wiped sweat from his forehead as he finished treating a young Crix patient. The insect-like alien had broken 3 of his 6 arms in an accident, but now he could move them all again. Hyunwoo smiled as the patient's family clicked their thanks in their strange language. Another successful day at Haven's Rest, he said to himself. The medical station floated quietly in deep space, far from any planet or war. Ships from all over the galaxy came here when they needed help. It did not matter if they were human, alien, or something in between. The doctors here helped everyone. Hyunwoo had worked on the station for 3 years. He was 34 years old and one of the best trauma surgeons in human space. But he did not care about fame or money. He just wanted to help people who were hurt. The station's alarm suddenly rang out loud and clear. Red lights flashed in the corridors. Hyunwoo ran toward the emergency bay, his medical bag in his hand. "What do we have?" he asked Dr. Taemin Ko, the station's cultural expert. "Unknown ship coming in fast," Taemin said, looking at his tablet. "The ship is badly damaged. 1 life sign on board." Hyunwoo looked at the main screen. A small scout ship limped toward them, smoke trailing behind it. The hull was cracked and burned. Parts of it were missing completely. "Can you tell what species?" Hyunwoo asked. Taemin's face went pale. "The markings. They're Villani." The other doctors and nurses stopped what they were doing. Everyone knew about the Villani. They were proud bird-like aliens with huge wings. They lived in floating cities high above their planet's surface. Most importantly, they hated asking for help from other species. "Villani never come to medical stations," said Dr. Yujin, the head nurse. "They would rather die than let us treat them." "Well, this one is coming here," Hyunwoo said. "Get the trauma bay ready." The damaged ship barely made it to the docking bay. When it stopped, smoke poured from its engines. Hyunwoo and his team waited with a medical stretcher. The ship's door opened with a loud hiss. Inside, they could see the pilot slumped over the controls. It was a Villani woman with beautiful silver-blue wings. But something was very wrong. One of her wings hung at a strange angle, clearly broken. Blood covered her flight suit. "Careful," Taemin whispered. "If she wakes up and sees us treating her..." Hyunwoo was already moving. He had seen many hurt people in his life. This patient needed help right now. He did not care about politics or pride. The Villani woman was unconscious when they lifted her onto the stretcher. Up close, Hyunwoo could see how badly hurt she was. Her broken wing was twisted in a way that made him wince. Dark blue blood seeped from cuts on her arms and legs. They rushed her to the trauma bay. As they moved her to the medical table, she started to wake up. Her large golden eyes opened slowly. When she saw the humans around her, she tried to sit up. No treatment," she said in broken standard language. "Villani, do not accept." Her voice was weak but full of pride. Even hurt and bleeding, she did not want their help. "You're badly injured," Hyunwoo said gently. "Your wing is broken. You have internal bleeding. Without treatment, you will die. Better to die than accept charity from lesser species," she gasped. The other medical staff looked at each other nervously. This was exactly what they had feared. Villani were known to become violent when other species tried to help them. But Hyunwoo just started preparing his instruments. "You can file a complaint after you're healed," he said calmly. The Villani woman tried to speak again, but she was too weak. Her eyes closed and she fell unconscious once more. "Hyunwoo," Dr. Yujin said quietly. "Are you sure about this? If she dies during treatment, the Villani Empire might blame us. If she lives, she might still hate us for helping her." Hyunwoo looked at his patient. Her breathing was shallow. The broken wing twitched with each heartbeat. She was dying. "She's a person who needs help," he said. "That's all I need to know." He began his examination. The Villani woman was about his age, maybe 30 years old. Her species was known for being warriors and pilots. The uniform she wore had the markings of a fleet commander. This was not just any Villani. She was important. The medical scanner showed the full damage. Her wing was not just broken but shattered in 3 places. Worse, the wing was connected to her breathing system in ways human doctors had never studied. If he made a mistake, she could die. "Get me everything we have on Villani anatomy," Hyunwoo said. "I need to understand how her body works before I can fix it." For the next hour, he studied alien medical files. Villani wings were not like bird wings on Earth. They were complex organs that helped them breathe, fly, and even think. The bones inside were hollow but stronger than steel. The muscles were connected to their nervous system in intricate ways. "This is the most complex surgery I've ever seen," Dr. Yujin said, reading over his shoulder. No human has ever operated on a Volani wing. Then I'll be the first, Hyunwoo said. He looked at his unconscious patient one more time. She had silver blue feathers that shimmered even under the harsh medical lights. Her face was peaceful now, but he could see the strength in her features. This was someone who had never backed down from a fight. What's her name? He asked Taimin, who was checking the ship's computer. Commander Nari of the Volani 7th Fleet, Taimin said. She was escorting a medical supply convoy when pirates attacked. Her crew escaped in pods, but she stayed behind to cover their retreat. So she was a hero who had saved her people. Now it was Hyunwoo's turn to save her. Prep for surgery, he said. This is going to take a while. As his team prepared the operating room, Hyunwoo made a silent promise to the unconscious Volani commander. He would fix her wing and heal her wounds. He would show her that humans could be trusted even if she never thanked him for it. The surgery was about to begin. Commander Nari's life was in his hands. The surgery took 18 hours. Hyunwoo worked without stopping, his hands steady as he carefully put Commander Nari's wing back together. The operating room was quiet except for the beeping of medical machines and the soft hum of the station's life support. Hand me the micro-welder, Hyunwoo said to Dr. Yujin. The Volani wing bones were unlike anything he had ever seen. They were hollow like bird bones but made of a material stronger than human steel. Each bone had tiny channels running through it that carried air to help with breathing and flight. How do you know where to put the connections? Yujin asked, watching him work. I'm following the pattern, Hyunwoo said, not taking his eyes off his work. See how the blood vessels branch out? They follow the same path as the air channels. If I fix one, the other should heal too. He had spent hours studying the medical files before starting. Volani anatomy was more complex than human bodies, but it followed rules. Once he understood the rules, he could fix the damage. The hardest part was connecting the wing muscles to the nervous system. In humans, arms and legs had simple connections. But Volani wings were connected to their brain, lungs, and even their sense of balance. One wrong move could leave Nari unable to fly forever. There, Hyunwoo said finally, stepping back from the table. The wing is repaired. Now we need to wrap it so it can heal properly. He used a special biosynthetic material that would help the bones grow back together. The wrap was clear and flexible, letting Nari move her wing a little without causing more damage. I've never seen surgery like that, said Dr. Kim, who had been watching from the observation deck. You operated on an alien body like you've been doing it for years. Hyunwoo was exhausted, but he felt good about the work. Bodies are bodies, he said. They all want to heal. You just have to help them remember how. Commander Nari woke up 3 days later. Her golden eyes opened slowly, and she looked around the recovery room. When she saw Hyunwoo sitting in a chair nearby reading a medical journal, her face hardened. You, she said, her voice hoarse. Good morning, Hyunwoo said, putting down his reading. How do you feel? Like I have been betrayed by my own body, Nari said bitterly. She tried to sit up, then stopped when she felt the wrap around her wing. What have you done to me? I fixed your wing. You also had internal bleeding, which I stopped. You're going to be fine. Nari's face showed many emotions, anger, shame, and something that might have been fear. I told you I did not want your help. You were unconscious, Hyunwoo said calmly. I couldn't ask permission. You should have let me die. The words hit Hyunwoo like a punch, but he did not show it. He had heard angry patients before. Pain and fear made people say things they did not mean. Why? He asked. Because now I am dishonored, Nari said. A Volani commander who accepts help from lesser species cannot return to her people. Lesser species? Hyunwoo raised an eyebrow. Your wing is healing perfectly. In 2 weeks you'll be flying again. How is that lesser? Nari had no answer for that. She turned her head away from him. Over the next few days, Nari remained angry and silent. She ate the food they brought her, but she refused to speak to any of the human staff. She watched everything they did with suspicious eyes, as if waiting for them to reveal some evil plan. Hyunwoo visited her every day to check on her healing. Each time he tried to make conversation. Each time she ignored him. The medical databases say Volani are very social, Dr. Taimin told Hyunwoo one evening. They live in large groups and talk constantly. For her to be this quiet, she must be very upset. Or very scared, Hyunwoo said. He had been thinking about what Nari said about being dishonored. In her culture, accepting help was seen as weakness. But what kind of society would rather let people die than accept kindness from strangers? Tell me about Villani honor codes, he asked Taman. They're complicated, Taman said, pulling up files on his tablet. Villani believe that strength comes from independence. They think asking for help shows weakness. The worst thing you can call a Villani is wingless. It means useless, unable to fly on your own. That explains a lot, Hyunwoo said. There's more. Villani society is built on fighting and competition. They respect only those who prove themselves stronger. They see humans as soft because we cooperate instead of competing. Hyunwoo thought about this. No wonder Nari was so angry. In her mind, he had not saved her life. He had ruined it. The next day, he brought something different to her room. Instead of just checking her medical charts, he carried a small tablet. What is that? Nari asked, speaking for the first time in days. Pictures of earth birds, Hyunwoo said, sitting down. I thought you might like to see them. He showed her photos of eagles soaring over mountains, falcons diving through clouds, and tiny hummingbirds floating in midair. Despite herself, Nari leaned forward to get a better look. They're so small, she said, almost forgetting to be angry. But they're tough, Hyunwoo said. This little hummingbird can fly 500 miles without stopping. This eagle can spot prey from 2 miles away. Size isn't everything. Nari studied the pictures quietly. Do humans fly? She asked. Not naturally. We build machines to carry us through the air, but we've always been jealous of creatures that can fly on their own. Why? Because flight is freedom, Hyunwoo said. When you can fly, nothing can cage you. Something in Nari's expression changed. For just a moment, she looked sad instead of angry. I may never fly the same way again, she said quietly. Why do you think that? My wing was badly broken. Even if the bones heal, the muscles and nerves, they may not work properly. Hyunwoo pulled up her medical scans on the tablet. Look at this, he said, showing her the images. Your wing is healing better than expected. The biosynthetic wrap is helping the bones grow stronger. The nerve connections are perfect. Nari stared at the scans. She knew enough about medicine to understand what she was seeing. Her wing was not just healing, it was healing perfectly. How did you know how to do this? She asked. I studied, Hyunwoo said simply. I read everything we had about Villani anatomy. I spent hours planning the surgery. I made sure I understood every connection before I made the first cut. But why? I was nothing to you. I was rude and ungrateful. Why did you care so much? Hyunwoo was quiet for a moment. Then he said, 5 years ago, my younger sister Ji-hai was killed in a colonial attack. She was only 22, just starting her life as a teacher. Nari listened without interrupting. After she died, I had a choice. Hyunwoo continued. I could spend my life seeking revenge, trying to hurt the people who hurt her. Or I could spend my life saving people, honoring her memory by protecting others. Which did you choose? I'm here, aren't I? Hyunwoo smiled. Every person I save is a gift to her memory. It doesn't matter what species they are or whether they thank me. What matters is that they get to live. Nari looked at him with new eyes. This human doctor had suffered loss just like she had, but instead of becoming bitter, he had chosen to heal. I think, she said slowly, I may have been wrong about humans. Over the next week, Nari began to change. She started talking to the medical staff instead of glaring at them. She asked questions about the station and how it worked. Most importantly, she watched Dr. Hyunwoo as he treated other patients. He's amazing, she told Dr. Yujin one day. They were watching Hyunwoo work on a Luminari patient, a being made of pure energy who had been hurt in an accident. How does he know how to treat so many different species? He studies everything, Yujin said. When he doesn't know something, he learns it. When he can't find information, he figures it out himself. Nari watched as Hyunwoo carefully adjusted the energy field that kept the Luminari stable. His hands moved with perfect precision, even though he was working with a type of life completely different from his own. On my world, Nari said, doctors only treat Villani. We believe other species are too different from us. Hyunwoo says all life wants the same thing, Yujin replied. To keep existing, to heal from damage, to be whole again. The details are different, but the goal is always the same. Later that day, Nari asked Hyunwoo about his work. How many species have you treated? I've lost count, he said, checking the healing progress on her wing. Maybe 40 or 50 different types. Each one teaches me something new. Aren't you ever afraid of making mistakes? Of hurting someone because you don't understand their body? Every day, Hyunwoo admitted. But being afraid to help is worse than being afraid of making mistakes. If I don't try, they definitely die. If I try, they might live. Nari thought about this. In Villani culture, admitting fear was shameful. But Hyunwoo spoke about his fears like they were normal and healthy. "Tell me about your sister," she said suddenly. Hyunwoo's hands paused in their work for just a moment. Jihai was the kindest person I knew. She wanted to be a teacher because she loved helping children learn new things. She used to say that every child was like a seed that just needed the right care to grow. How did she die? Pirates attacked her colony ship. The same kind of pirates that attacked your convoy, actually. They took everything valuable and killed anyone who got in their way. Nari felt a chill run through her feathers. "I'm sorry. I didn't know humans face the same dangers we do." "The galaxy is dangerous for everyone," Hyunwoo said. "That's why places like this station are so important. We're a safe harbor for anyone who needs help. Is that why you work here? To make the galaxy safer?" "Partly, but mostly because Jihee would have wanted me to help people. She believed the best way to fight darkness was to bring light wherever you could." That evening, Nari asked Dr. Taemin to tell her more about human culture. She was surprised by what she learned. "Humans form alliances with other species?" she asked. "Of course," Taemin said. "We have trade partnerships, research agreements, mutual defense treaties. We work together." "But don't you compete with each other? Fight for resources and territory?" "Sometimes. But we've learned that cooperation usually works better than fighting. We can accomplish more together than we can alone." This was completely different from what Nari had been taught. Villani school said humans were weak because they relied on others. But what if working together was actually a strength? The next day brought an emergency that changed everything. A small transport ship arrived at the station carrying refugees from a plague outbreak on a mining planet. The passengers were a mix of species: humans, Krix, and even a few Villani. Nari was shocked to see members of her own people accepting help from the medical station. These were civilians, not warriors, but they still looked ashamed to be there. "I need all available medical staff," Hyunwoo announced over the station's communication system. The plague was not deadly, but it caused painful swelling and made it hard to breathe. "Can I help?" Nari asked. Hyunwoo looked surprised. "Your wing is still healing. You should rest. I'm a fleet commander. I have medical training for battlefield injuries." "Maybe I can assist," Hyunwoo thought for a moment, then nodded. "Okay, but if you feel any pain in your wing, you stop immediately." Nari spent the day helping treat plague victims. She watched as Hyunwoo worked tirelessly, moving from patient to patient without regard for their species. He was just as careful with a Krix child as he was with a human adult. The 3 Villani refugees were the most difficult patients. They were ashamed to be there and tried to refuse treatment. "Please," said one of them, an older male with gray feathers. "We cannot accept charity from aliens." "It's not charity," Nari said firmly. "It's medicine. These doctors are saving your life." "You don't understand," the Villani said. "We will be outcasts if our people learn we accepted help." "I understand perfectly," Nari replied. "I'm Commander Nari of the 7th Fleet. These humans saved my life too." The refugees stared at her in shock. A fleet commander admitting to accepting alien help? It was unthinkable. "But Commander," the gray-feathered Villani said, "what about our honor?" "What honor is there in dying from pride?" Nari asked. "These humans risk their lives to help strangers. They ask for nothing in return. If anyone lacks honor, it's us for refusing their kindness." The refugees allowed themselves to be treated. As the day went on, Nari noticed something interesting. The human medical staff worked just as hard to save Villani lives as they did for their own species. They showed no favoritism, no preference. "Why do you care so much about people who have been taught to hate you?" she asked Hyunwoo during a break. "Because hate is usually just fear in disguise," he said. "Once people see we're not so different, the hate goes away." "What if it doesn't? What if some people never change their minds?" "Then at least I tried. And maybe the next generation will be more open-minded." That night, as the last plague victim was treated and sent to recovery, Nari sat alone in her room thinking. Everything she had been taught about humans was wrong. They weren't weak or inferior. They were different, yes, but different in good ways. She thought about her own fleet, probably searching for her right now. What would Admiral Soo-jin say when she learned Nari had been saved by human doctors? Would they understand, or would they see her as a traitor? "Nari?" Hyunwoo's voice came from the door. "May I come in?" "Of course." He entered carrying a medical scanner. "Time for your evening checkup." How does the wing feel? Strong, she said honestly. Stronger than it felt even before the injury. Hyunwoo ran the scanner over her wing and smiled. The biosynthetic wrap worked perfectly. Your bones are actually denser than they were before. You'll fly better than ever. Hyunwoo, Nari said. What happens when my people come looking for me? I don't know. What do you think will happen? I think they'll be very angry. They might try to take me away before my treatment is complete. They might even attack the station. Are you worried about that? I'm worried about you, Nari said. You saved my life. My people might see that as an insult rather than a gift. Hyunwoo sat down across from her. Would you rather I had let you die? No, she said immediately. I want to live. I want to fly again. I want to see my home and my people. But I also want them to understand what I've learned here, which is that strength comes in many forms, that helping others doesn't make you weak, that there's honor in healing as well as fighting. Hyunwoo smiled. Then maybe when they come you can teach them. Maybe, Nari said. But teaching is harder than fighting, and some lessons are harder to learn than others. 3 days later, long-range sensors picked up a massive Vellani fleet heading straight for Haven's rest station. Admiral Sujin was coming, and she was bringing enough firepower to destroy a small planet. Nari's people had found her. Soon everyone would learn whether compassion could triumph over pride. The Vellani fleet arrived like a storm made of metal and fire. 12 massive warships dropped out of hyperspace, their weapons powered down but clearly visible. The largest ship was a dreadnought called Sky's Fury, Admiral Sujin's flagship. Haven's Rest medical station looked tiny next to the war fleet. The peaceful medical facility had never been designed to face military ships. Incoming transmission, reported the station's communication officer. Put it on screen, said Dr. Taemin, who was in charge of station operations. Admiral Sujin appeared on the main display. She was an older Vellani woman with silver-white feathers and hard golden eyes. Her uniform was covered with medals and honors from decades of military service. Medical Station Haven's Rest, she said in formal tones. We have come for Commander Nari. Prepare to transfer her to our custody immediately. Admiral Sujin, Dr. Taemin replied carefully. Commander Nari is still recovering from her injuries. Moving her now could be dangerous to her health. That is not your concern. Vellani business will be handled by Vellani. You will not interfere. Hyunwoo stood next to Taemin watching the screen. He could see the barely controlled anger in the Admiral's eyes. To her, the medical station had committed a crime by helping Nari. I'll go talk to Nari, Hyunwoo said quietly. She needs to know they're here. He found Commander Nari in the observation deck, looking out at the Vellani fleet. Her expression was difficult to read. That's Admiral Sujin's ship, she said without turning around. She raised me after my parents died in battle. She's like a mother to me. What will you tell her? The truth. That you saved my life and treated me with honor and respect. Will she believe you? Nari was quiet for a long moment. Sujin is a warrior first. She believes strength is the most important virtue. But she's also fair. If I can prove that what you did was right, she might listen. And if she doesn't, then I may never see home again. An hour later, Admiral Sujin came aboard the station with a full honor guard. She was even more impressive in person, tall and proud with wings that showed her high rank. Her second-in-command, Commander Woo Jin, walked beside her with his hand on his weapon. They met in the station's main conference room. Nari stood at attention when her admiral entered, but she did not bow her head in shame as expected. Commander Nari, Admiral Sujin said formally. You look, well, I am well, Admiral. Better than I have been in months. Sujin's eyes narrowed. We received your distress signal. When we found your destroyed ship, we assumed you were dead. Imagine our surprise to learn you were being held by aliens. I was not held, Admiral. I was healed. Commander Woo Jin stepped forward. You allowed inferior species to touch you, to treat you like a weakling. You have brought shame on your entire fleet. I allowed skilled doctors to save my life, Nari replied calmly. There is no shame in that. There is shame in accepting charity from lesser beings, Woo Jin snapped. You should have died with honor rather than live with disgrace. Dr. Hyunwoo had been listening quietly from the side of the room. Now he stepped forward. Admiral Sujin, he said respectfully, may I speak? The Admiral looked at him with cold eyes. This was the human who had dared to touch one of her officers. You may speak, though I do not know why I should listen to you, because I'm the doctor who treated. Commander Nari, I'd like to show you something. Hyunwoo activated a holographic display that showed Nari's medical scans from when she first arrived. This is what your officer looked like when she came to us, he said. Her wing was shattered in 3 places. She had internal bleeding. Without immediate surgery, she would have died within hours. The display showed the extent of Nari's injuries. Even Admiral Sujin looked shocked at how badly damaged the wing had been. This is what she looks like now, Hyunwoo continued, showing current scans. Her wing is not just healed, it's stronger than it was before. She can fly better now than she ever could. Impossible, Commander Woojin said. Our own doctor said such injuries could never be fully repaired. Your doctors were wrong, Hyunwoo said simply. Watch this. He nodded to Nari, who spread her wings wide. The repaired wing moved smoothly, perfectly coordinated with the healthy one. There was no sign of weakness or damage. Admiral Sujin stared in amazement. She had expected to find Nari crippled and ashamed. Instead, she found her stronger than ever. How? Was all she could manage to say. By studying your anatomy, understanding your physiology, and caring more about saving a life than about politics, Hyunwoo said. Commander Woojin was not impressed. This proves nothing. You may have repaired her body, but you have poisoned her mind. She now thinks aliens are equal to Villani. I think skilled healers deserve respect regardless of their species, Nari said firmly. I think courage comes in many forms, including the courage to help strangers who might not thank you. You speak like them now, Woojin accused. You have been corrupted. I have been educated, Nari replied. Admiral Sujin held up her hand for silence. She was thinking hard, trying to process what she had seen and heard. Commander Nari, she said finally, tell me exactly what happened here. For the next hour, Nari described her time on the station. She told them about Hyunwoo's skill as a surgeon, his dedication to his patients, and his kindness even when she had been rude to him. She explained how she had watched him treat dozens of species with equal care. She also told them about the plague victims, including the 3 Villani refugees who had been saved by human medicine. You helped treat Villani civilians, Admiral Sujin asked Hyunwoo. I treated plague victims, he corrected. Their species didn't matter, but you knew they would never be able to repay you. I didn't ask to be repaid. This was difficult for the Admiral to understand. In Villani culture, everything was about debt and honor. You helped those who could help you back. You fought those who opposed you. But helping strangers for nothing in return made no sense. What do you want from us? She asked suspiciously. Nothing, Hyunwoo said. Commander Nari is healed. She's free to go with you whenever she chooses. I hope she lives a long and happy life. That's it? You don't want money or technology or political favors. I want her to fly again. That's all I ever wanted. Admiral Sujin looked at her adopted daughter. Because that's what Nari was to her in all but blood. The young commander stood tall and proud, her wings perfect and strong. But there was something else in her eyes now. Something that hadn't been there before. Wisdom, perhaps. Or compassion. Commander Woojin, the Admiral said slowly. You believe this human has dishonored Commander Nari? Yes, Admiral. She has been contaminated by their weakness. Then let us test that theory. Dr. Hyunwoo, we have a patient aboard our ship that our best doctors cannot help. Lieutenant Boram was injured in the same pirate attack as Commander Nari. She has damage to her flight navigation system. If you can cure her, I will consider the possibility that we have misjudged humans. And if I can't? Hyunwoo asked. Then you will have proven that you succeeded with Nari through luck rather than skill. Commander Woojin will be justified in his concerns. Hyunwoo looked at Nari, who nodded encouragingly. I'll do my best, he said. But I'll need to study her condition first. And I'll need Commander Nari to help me understand Villani flight physiology. Agreed, Admiral Sujin said. You have 1 day to prepare. Then we will see if human medicine is truly as advanced as you claim. As the meeting ended, Commander Woojin approached Hyunwoo with a cold smile. Enjoy your last day of freedom, human. When you fail to cure Boram, I will personally ensure that everyone knows human medicine is worthless. Your reputation will be destroyed. I'm not doing this for reputation, Hyunwoo said quietly. I'm doing it for Lieutenant Boram. She deserves the chance to fly again just like Commander Nari did. Woojin's smile faded. He had expected threats or boasts in return. Instead, the human doctor simply cared about helping another patient. For the first time, Commander Wu Jin wondered if he might be wrong about humans. Lieutenant Boram was brought to Haven's Rest the next morning. She was young, maybe 25 years old, with beautiful dark blue feathers. But when she tried to walk, she stumbled and swayed like she was dizzy. "The pirates hit our ship with an energy weapon," she explained to Dr. Hyunwoo. "The blast damaged my inner ear and the organ that connects my wings to my balance system. I can't fly in a straight line anymore." Hyunwoo examined her carefully. The scans showed damage to a tiny organ deep inside her skull, something that controlled how Vellani understood their position in three-dimensional space. It was incredibly complex and connected to both her brain and her wings. "I've never seen anything like this," Dr. Yujin whispered, looking at the scans. "Neither have I," Hyunwoo admitted. "But every organ has a purpose. If I can understand what it's supposed to do, maybe I can figure out how to fix it." Commander Nari worked with him, explaining Vellani flight physiology. "This organ is called the wind finder," she said. "It tells us which way is up when we're flying through clouds. It helps us navigate by feeling air currents and magnetic fields. Like a biological compass and gyroscope combined," Hyunwoo said, beginning to understand. "Exactly. Without it working properly, Boram gets confused when she flies. She thinks she's going straight but actually flies in circles." For 12 hours, Hyunwoo studied everything he could about the Windfinder organ. He learned that it contained thousands of tiny crystals that vibrated in response to magnetic fields. The crystals sent signals to the brain through hair-thin nerve fibers. In Boram's case, the energy blast had shattered many of the crystals and burned some of the nerve connections. "Can you fix it?" Admiral Sujin asked. She had been watching the preparations with growing interest. "I think so," Hyunwoo said, "but the surgery will be incredibly precise. I'll need to rebuild the crystal structure and reconnect damaged nerves. One mistake could leave her permanently disabled." "Our best surgeon said it was impossible," Commander Wu Jin said. "They said the organ was too delicate to repair." "Maybe they're right," Hyunwoo said. "But I have to try." The entire Vellani fleet watched as the surgery began. Admiral Sujin had ordered every ship to monitor the medical feeds. 50,000 Vellani warriors watched a human doctor attempt something their own medicine had declared impossible. Beginning the operation, Hyunwoo announced, he made a tiny incision behind Boram's ear, using instruments so small they looked like toys. The Windfinder organ was deep inside her skull, surrounded by critical blood vessels and nerve bundles. "I can see the damage," he said, looking through a surgical microscope. "About 60% of the crystals are shattered. The nerve fibers are severed in 3 locations." Working with incredible care, he began removing the broken crystal fragments. Each piece was smaller than a grain of sand, but they all had to be cleared away before he could install replacements. "Where will you get new crystals?" Nari asked. "From her healthy wing," Hyunwoo said. "Vellani wing bones contain the same type of crystals in smaller concentrations. I can harvest enough to repair the Windfinder." The procedure took 8 hours. Hyunwoo worked without breaks, his hands steady despite the strain. He extracted tiny crystals from Boram's wing bone and carefully placed them in the damaged organ. Then he used microsurgery tools to reconnect the severed nerve fibers. "The crystal structure is rebuilt," he announced. "Now for the nerve connections." This was the most dangerous part. The nerves that carried signals from the Windfinder to the brain were incredibly thin. Reconnecting them required precision beyond what most surgeons could achieve. Hyunwoo used a technique he had developed for treating human spinal injuries, adapted for Vellani anatomy. He guided nerve fibers back together using electrical stimulation and biosynthetic growth factors. "Final connection complete," he said, stepping back from the operating table. "Now we wait to see if it works." Boram woke up slowly. Her eyes opened and looked around the room. For a moment she seemed confused. Then she sat up and smiled. "I feel different," she said. "Clearer. Like fog has been lifted from my mind." "Try standing," Hyunwoo suggested. Boram got to her feet carefully. She had been dizzy and unsteady for months, but now she stood straight and sure. She took a few steps, then a few more. "It doesn't hurt," she said in amazement. "I'm not dizzy anymore." "The real test is flight," Admiral Sujin said. "Can you fly in a straight line?" They moved to the station's flight deck, a large space where ships could launch and land. Boram spread her wings and took off smoothly. She flew in a perfect circle around the deck, then figure eights, then complex aerobatic maneuvers. "I can feel everything," she called down to them. Air currents, magnetic fields, even the station's gravitational field. It's better than before I was injured. She landed gracefully in front of Dr. Hunwoo and dropped to one knee. You have given me back my sky, she said formally. I am in your debt. Admiral Soo-jin stared at the young pilot. Bo-ram had been one of her most promising officers before the injury. Their own doctors had said she would never fly again. Now she was performing maneuvers that would challenge a healthy pilot. How, was all the Admiral could say. By caring more about the patient than the politics, Hyunwoo said. By studying until I understood the problem, then working until I found a solution. Commander Woo Jin had watched the entire surgery. He had expected the human to fail, proving that aliens were inferior to Villani. Instead, he had witnessed medical skill beyond anything he had imagined. I was wrong, he said quietly. I apologize, Dr. Hyunwoo. You have proven that excellence exists in all species. Admiral Soo-jin looked around the room. Her officers were all staring at the human doctor with expressions of amazement and respect. 50,000 warriors had watched him perform a miracle. Dr. Hyunwoo, she said formally, the Villani Empire owes you a debt that can never be repaid. You have saved two of our finest officers and shown us that strength comes in many forms. You don't owe me anything, Hyunwoo said. Seeing them healthy and happy is payment enough. The Admiral reached up and removed the insignia from her uniform, a golden wing that marked her as a fleet commander. She held it out to Hyunwoo. This belongs to you now. You have earned the respect of our entire fleet. Thank you, but I can't accept that, Hyunwoo said gently. I'm not a warrior. I'm just a doctor who did his job. Admiral Soo-jin looked at the humble human who had accomplished what Villani medicine could not. He asked for nothing, wanted no reward, sought no glory. He simply healed those who needed healing. She put the insignia back on her uniform, then did something unprecedented in Villani military history. Admiral Soo-jin spread her wings wide and raised them high, the traditional salute of honor reserved for the greatest heroes of their people. It was a gesture of profound respect, acknowledging someone as an equal worthy of admiration. Throughout the fleet, officers watched their admiral salute a human doctor. One by one, they began to follow her example. First the bridge crew of the flagship, then entire ships, then the whole fleet. 50,000 proud Villani warriors spread their wings in salute to Dr. Hyunwoo Park, the human medic who had simply done what he believed was right. Commander Nari felt tears in her eyes as she watched her people honor the doctor who had saved her life. This was the moment everything changed, when two species realized they were not so different after all. What happens now? Hyunwoo asked Admiral Soo-jin as the salute ended. Now we learn, she said. Commander Nari will remain here as a liaison officer, working with your medical team. We want to exchange knowledge, to learn from each other. And we want to establish medical cooperation agreements with human colonies, added Commander Woo Jin. Our people need doctors like you, Dr. Hyunwoo smiled. I think that can be arranged. After all, healing is a universal language. Years later, the moment would be remembered as the beginning of a new era. The sight of an entire alien fleet saluting a human doctor became a symbol of what was possible when compassion overcame prejudice. Dr. Hyunwoo Park never sought fame or recognition. He just wrapped a broken wing and, in doing so, helped heal the wounds between worlds. Sometimes the smallest acts of kindness create the biggest changes in the universe. The medical station Haven's Rest became a symbol of cooperation, where the best doctors from all species worked together to save lives. And in the medical journals of a dozen worlds, the Park Protocol became the standard for cross-species surgery. But Dr. Hyunwoo remained humble. When people asked him about changing the galaxy, he would just smile and say, I'm just a doctor. I see someone who needs help and I try to give it. That perhaps was the most human thing of all.